Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
And compounding cost of living pressures are taking a huge toll on Tasmanian small businesses. With skyrocketing food, fuel and energy prices, a Launceston takeaway owner says he's struggling to keep his business afloat.
Small business owners are bearing the brunt of rising costs.
The costs recently have just got out of control.
Zach Langford says his Launceston-based business is struggling with mounting pressures.
Oil alone, the price of our deep fryer oil, we're paying 45% more than what we were at the start of, or the end of last year, which is $300 to $350 a week extra just in oil.
That's more than $15,000 extra per year, and they've only been open 4 months.
And just the cost in those 4 months, it's just been jumping and bounds, the increased costs.
There are concerns business costs are being passed on to customers, while Labor says the government has failed Tasmanian businesses.
Increasing power prices is just adding another weight to the operators of small businesses in Tassie. We know that there was an election promise from the government that they would de-link from the national grid. They've broken that promise.
Asked about support for businesses, Elise Archer could only refer to the state government's household supports.
We do have a winter support package for people, a very generous package, and that was as a direct result of what we're seeing around the world with inflation, and that's of course impacting on power prices, and Tasmania's not immune to that.
It's a scary future ahead.
If things don't change in the next 2 years, we're probably not going to stay open.
McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
There's hope for Tasmanians with pets who are struggling to find a rental. Elise Archer says she will immediately review the state's Residential Tenancy Act to ensure pet owners have equal access to rental properties.
I know how important it is for people to have their pets. They are great companions and indeed sometimes someone's best friend.
The Attorney-General says she's open to introducing pet bonds as a measure to protect landlords. Authorities have been called to Ashley Youth Detention Centre following a report of a gas leak. The TFS attended the centre just before midday after a visitor complained of a smell of gas. That area of the facility was evacuated and crews arrived to find no smell or readings on detection equipment. 2 more Tasmanians have died from COVID overnight. A man in his 80s and a woman in her late 60s, both from the south. The state recorded more than 1,150 cases. 46 people are being treated specifically for COVID in the state's hospitals. 3 are in ICU. There are currently about 9,000 active COVID cases. The oil spill in the Tamar River called in by members of the public on Friday remains the same, with oil noticeably trapped against the rocks near Launceston's Royal Park. The EPA says it is continuing to monitor the situation and expects the diesel to disperse over the coming days. Investigations into the source of the spill are continuing. Tasmania's west coast has a rich history and its story will now be told on the drive there. The Western Wilds Art Project places 3 unique sculptures on the road to the arts mecca, all with a special connection to place.
Once a land defined by mining, Tasmania's west coast now has a new identity.
The west coast is a hotbed of artistic and cultural activity.
3 new art installations dot the Western Wilds Drive and showcase the area's battle between industrialism and the environment.
And to see these works placed in the space of the west coast and reflecting, literally in one case, the stories and the history of the west coast is an ideal combination of history, culture and new art in public space.
Looking at the Franklin Gordon protests, it was exciting to make a work that represents the most significant campaign in Australia's environmental history.
At the foot of the Sentinel Ranges lies Alex Miles' ode to the beautiful and harsh southwest environment.
For me, I was interested in that idea of life cycles and how life and death are very much intertwined when you're in a really wild place.
Matt Calvert was the grandson of a thylacine trapper. His sculpture tells the tale of the tiger's demise.
This is something that doesn't kind of celebrate, that the animal as such. It talks about the extinction story.
We want people to experience what's occurred in the past because these situational artworks tell a story in themselves.
Stories of the wilderness, only a drive away. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
A tennis group dedicated to creating safe spaces in the community has served up another instalment of its popular winter tournament. Organisers commended the turnout, highlighting the importance of celebrating diversity.
When it comes to creating a sense of belonging, the Hobart Out Tennis Group aren't underestimating the power of sport.
You can come in and not have to try and justify who you are, not have to try and say that you fit into a particular box.
Competitors turned out for the Winter Compass event aimed to keep the important conversation going on and off the court.
It provides a level playing field where people can come together and say, this is our mutual passion, but while we're here enjoying the same activity, it gives us the opportunity to talk with people that we may not normally talk to.
In the face of recent debate around trans participation in elite sport, organisers want grassroots activity to be a welcome space for the LGBTQI+ community.
It has been a really tricky time for some members of the community, particularly our trans and gender diverse friends, so it's really lovely to come to a space that is actually for enjoyment and joy. And
a government grant helped Northern players to make the trip with an aim to ensure all corners of the state feel supported.
And try and bring some people down who are marginalised in their communities, don't have support networks.
Really beautiful to see everybody be able to come together and meet each other and learn from each other.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
A group of rising snooker stars has returned home to Tasmania with some shiny new silverware. The team of 5 travelled to New South Wales this month to claim the junior national title for the first time in almost a decade.
Breaking a 9-year drought, a group of young Tasmanian snooker players have brought this year's junior national trophy back to the island state.
Pretty good, yeah. Pretty happy with it. It's good for Tassie and to get the snooker out there.
Amazing, because it's really exciting, yeah.
Taking on 6 teams from around the country, with rivalry brewing between Queensland and Tasmania. The team managed to knock the North off their perch, reclaiming the title for the first time since 2013.
It's insane. I'm very proud of Tasmania for beating Queensland.
Very proud of the team. They played very well. They were up against a really strong group in Queensland, and the Tassie guys just kept winning all the way through.
Travelling to Albury earlier this month, Mitchell, Violet, Lily as well as Zach Burns and Josh Hands battled it out across 7 days of competition.
First you have the teams event where everyone in the team plays a game against another team, and then you have the singles events.
A combination of concentration and perseverance resulting in the team's success.
It's been a lot of hard work over the past couple of years.
The Tassie teens are hoping to secure back-to-back wins at the next Junior Championships in January. McKenna Bailey, 7 Tasmania News.
A local teenager has taken a close shave and made a big impact on stroke resources. Tegan Richards' grandma suffered a stroke 2 years ago, and today she watched on as Tegan shaved her head for the Stroke Foundation, raising $3,500.
To be able to fund things like prevention, care, research into further strokes, and to hopefully lessen the impact that stroke has on people's lives.
When she originally sprung it on me, I said, "You're not doing it," and she raised $3,000. And I sort of didn't think she'd get there, but she got there last night.
Tegan has also donated her hair to sustainable salons who make natural wigs. An annual celebration of science and art is returning to Tasmania. Preparations are well underway for the popular Beaker Street Festival, which will run across 7 days, boasting some of the nation's top talent in a jam-packed program. Organisers expect it will be a welcome boost for the sector and performers who've spent much of the last 2 years combating cancellations.
We have so many musicians and artists that are part of this event, and it's so good to be able to give them work opportunities, and there's just so much enthusiasm and excitement. It's a really good vibe.
The state will come alive with festivities from August 5 with a number of free and ticketed events. South Hobart has prevailed in a fiery clash with Olympia. Nick Morton broke the deadlock with an 87th minute tap-in and then headed straight for the Warriors fans. The win keeps South in 4th place and in touching distance of 2nd. Meanwhile, Launceston cruised to a 3-0 victory. Stefan Tatari scoring an absolute belter to seal the win. And to hockey now, it was a nail-biter between Tasmania and Western Australia in the under-21 women's match last night. A defensive effort in the first half leading to a tie at full-time, while tonight they take on New South Wales in the quarter-final. In the men's division, our side clashed against the ACT this afternoon. Tasmania managed to even the scoreboard at the end of the 3rd quarter with an impressive penalty corner goal. But it wasn't enough to get them over the line with the final score 1-7. All 4 Tasmanian NBL 1 teams have suffered 1 win and 1 loss on their interstate road trips this weekend. For the Chargers men, it was enough to keep them on the top of the table. A 21-point win over Geelong last night was the highlight of their weekend. AJ Harris top scored with 25 points.
Good evening, everyone. 16 degrees in Hobart today, Launceston and Devonport 15 and 13 in Burnie. Looking across the state, King Island and Strawn both 16, Flinders Island, Smithton and St Helens 15, 14 in Low Head and Friendly Beaches and 9 in Lyowini. Mid to low level cloud can be seen across the entire state today, moving down from the north, while some bright storm clouds are seen off the east. Further out, a large frontal band extends to coastal parts of South Australia. Convective cloud sits over the southwest of Western Australia, while the rest of the country is mostly cloud-free. Tomorrow, a cold front is situated over the eastern border of South Australia. An associated trough extends from northeastern South Australia to the north of Western Australia, while a ridge sits over the east of the country. East to northeasterly winds tomorrow 10 to 20 knots, increasing during the morning to 15 to 25 knots and reaching 30 knots about the northwest. And there is a strong wind warning current for the far northwest, southwest and central west coasts and the southeast coast. 16 degrees in Hobart tomorrow, mostly sunny, and 15 in Dover, Ooze reaching 15 with showers. Showers in the north with Launceston a top of 16, 15 in Devonport, Scottsdale reaching 14. 14 and increasing showers in Burnie tomorrow, Strawn reaching 16, 15 in Stanley. And in the east, showers and 15 degrees in St Helens, Swansea and Ross. On Tuesday, showers more frequent about the north and east. Fine in the central north on Wednesday, however, showers elsewhere. And on Thursday, showers contracting to the west, south and central areas. 18 in Perth tomorrow, Adelaide and Canberra 15, partly cloudy in Sydney and Cairns, and Brisbane and Alice Springs both 22. And currently Hobart 11 degrees and mostly clear, 10 in Launceston and partly cloudy, and Devonport mostly cloudy and 12. And Lou, that's all for Sunday night's weather.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Chelsea. And that's all your news for this Sunday night. Thank you so much for joining us. Kim and the team will be back with you tomorrow. Good night.